everybody, welcome back to another vlog. Now I'm going to be trying to show you guys my timeline, and hang on, here, trying to support the camera, but it's a little bit. Basically, guys, is this, which I think I'm holding the right way around. It's the YouTube timeline, or my timeline for the channel, and I think it works quite well. I put this together when trying to make Gordon's timeline, so Gordon J. Roger from Skyrim. Well, when I was trying to put together his timeline, I then tried putting together my own timeline. I actually started finding out there is some sort of story to the whole channel, which I don't fully understand. Kind of weird. Anyway, basically this is how it all works. I can't really use the camera because it is different to my view, but it starts here with Ultimate Band, which is where like me, Rowan, Ben, and Bill first kind of met, formed a band, which I don't actually. Oh yeah, Red Hand Gang, and yeah, we're playing as a band. We then get shipwrecked on an island, the original Minecraft island, where then we basically, on the island, we're stuck there. There's a small village, which is why there are all these villagers. The actual first episode I ever did for YouTube is not based in this timeline. I'll explain what that image up here is in a minute. Basically, then the Minecraft timeline, I know it's shown in that area, and whilst all the others just kind of end at a certain point, the Minecraft one, just keeps going. Also, this little gap here, between Skyrim and Minecraft, is on purpose. It's to show that there's a big space kind of between the two. Because when Minecraft begins, then we built a boat out of the scraps from some scraps from the plane. That was it, and then some wood and things like that. And just kind of build a boat, and the others leave. I stay behind. I then use the rest of the plane. That's why there's no plane wreckage. I use the rest of the plane to make myself a time machine, which is also known as Amy. I've just realised this is in the way. Now, very few will know about Amy since it is a very hidden not version, but it's a very hidden thing on the island. It's basically a small kind of box thing, basically in the middle of a kind of a woods thing. It's fairly well hidden, I must admit myself. Even during the night, you can barely see the light coming from it. George, I'm recording.
Oh, what's it?
Anyway, when it's then basically done, I then go to the future and find Dr. Limmer, and I bring him back. Well, not on purpose. He hides in the engine room. When I take off, it opens up the engine room core, and it basically, I've always stated this when I've talked about Dr. Limmer, he had a 99.99% chance he was going to survive. No, die, sorry. So there's only, 0.01. I could have just said 0.1% chance that he's going to survive. He does survive, and that's why he gets mutated, because he used to have blonde hair, kind of eyebrows kind of like mine, and he has different colour he had a different eye colour. I think I said blue. It might have been brown as well, but anyway. Blonde hair, brown eyes, and everything about him was technically normal. I say technically because, well, no one is really normal. And then, because, you're all normal to yourself. Everyone else is different, and that really means that there is no normal. Anyway, the mutations basically make his nose longer, and then kind of drop down, as well as moving his nose holes from there to kind of on the end of his nose. And then drops down over his mouth as a normal villager, joins together his eyebrows, changes his hair colour to brown, and also his eye colour to green. It makes his head longer for some reason, and Also makes his mouth longer. Not longer. Is that wider? I don't know. Basically, yeah, longer. And it cuts his arms down. So like, there's kind of my joint there. His arms then shrunk down to around about there. So this part, so your wrist, is now basically around there. So right on the joint. Well, not on the joint, but just next to it. So making his arms smaller, and that's how he can put his arms so close together. Dr. Limmer does come from like around about the time before they made kind of the fast and light travel in Halo, so 25 something rather. Anyway, he comes back, and when we landed, it caused like a beam thing for some reason out of Amy, transporting her across the island, killing all life, well, human life, meaning there's no one in the village anymore. You go there, and I start building the lab underneath my house. I then build my first time machine, which I've shown a few times. It's a big obsidian thing, basically, on the wall. Yeah, this thing doesn't actually go through time. I'm trying to think, kind of like Terminator, that's it. So you go through time, but it doesn't come with you. And I'm going to move my hood. The Terminator, basically, and yeah, then, one is that then well, basically, you can also use it to go through time. Dr. Limmer, though, has a computer that he can use, and that means that he can technically use it to beam me around. I use this to then go through dimensions using his element, which I couldn't figure out how to use before. So I had obviously done tests by sending things that falls in time by a minute, like in Back to the Future. Send them a minute into the future, coordinated to appear kind of to the side, and they never showed up. If they ever showed up, they were usually just like a pile of ash or something. Other times they are completely disintegrated, I think. Well, like the computer detects like time changing stuff there, but it just doesn't pick up anything actually arriving. So yeah. Then I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, Dr. Limmer then discovers a chemical called, that he calls, because I remember this is how most elements are named. Are they now? I think it's nowadays. They name them after whoever found them. So Dr. Limmer finds an element and calls it Limonite. And this chemical can then actually protect a body from kind of the exposure to the time vortex and dimensional vortexes and, all types of vortexes. Meaning we can now travel through lots of different places very easily. And basically when you activate the time machine, it just basically doses you in it. You can't see it or feel it. It's very like a thin layer. Yeah, and then I decided to get the whole village back. I go to every alternate dimension of... I'm going to close this door. Yeah, I go to every alternate version of Dr. Limmer, taking DNA from each one. We then put them together in the cloning machine. Some people also know that. It's in between his house, basically. He has a house and a lab. Yeah, we then basically put together all of this, make the machine randomly generate a being out of this DNA. Dr. Limmer stands at one end, it kind of copies his physical appearance, also mixing together some parts of DNA to make a new person. That way they have different personality and different DNA inside them every time. Now no one in the village had this, because one day Dr. Limmer was going through all the types of DNA, and found an odd one which didn't seem to match any type he knew, and no one in the village had this version. He did a few tests on it, and it just reacted differently to normal DNA. So then he put it into a scanner, scanned the whole globe and all of time to figure out where they were. He then discovered that I don't have my piece of paper. I do actually have a word page at school all about Dimensionators, which I'm now going to. Well, anyway, he found out that you have an incredibly low chance. I think that out of the whole human race today, we would only have one person who is a Dimensionator. Their DNA can't be passed down through genes, well, more their abilities. You just get them, and usually they come out every century. Dimensionators have the ability to travel through dimensions without protection. Just say, I'm still in the Minecraft area. This video has been going on for like 10 minutes. Probably 8 if you put down everything. Anyway, so then Dr. Limmer finds a person in the present day. So around about 2012, he finds someone who was born in 1992 called Steven. Anyone who is kind of follows quite a bit of my Minecraft will probably know that Steven is the name of the character I play as in Minecraft. It was just a way to... It's like a longer name for Steve. Anyway, then, yeah, we go and pick him up. I give him the chip, disguised as a rose. The chip brings Dimensionators back to life by going back in time slightly, or literally bring them back to life, but in a different location. Like in a most likely safe location. It also... that's gotta be the first time I've done that. The chip also lets them go through dimensions without needing protection. Because if you ever want to go through dimensions, there is a lot to the lab you guys don't know. Like we have docking bays, dimensional portal testing, teleporters. We have hundreds of rooms that you guys can't actually see. I am planning for No Man's Sky to actually have a small hint to where the docking bay is. But yeah, and then it's probably just going to be a really long ladder just built down. But who knows, maybe I'll actually build a docking bay. Yeah, then we pick up Steven. This is when the Minecraft series begins. Now, how many episodes have I done? Like, I've done 3 episodes or so on the new kind of one. The new series. It's not really the new series, it's more like the new version of the Minecraft. And basically, in this one, we're trying to expand on the island, which is actually called the Cluster. It's getting dark outside, that's going to get annoying. Right, then it moves on to that one, Skyrim, that's the name. When we go and pick up Gordon. Gordon is actually someone I'm trying to make very complicated. He is actually not meant to have that much of a history that we're meant to know about either. Not even we're meant to know. Dr. Limmer somehow, well, he takes their DNA. Like, people we don't know the history of, like most of the Dimensionators, we don't know the history of. I've repeated that a few times. And yeah, we basically, they're their DNA. And Dr. Limmer does something to it to figure out their history. Problem with Gordon is he has more than one power. All dimensions have a certain power. For instance, Steven can't die of hunger. Starvation, that's what it is. It will only make him very weak, but he can still walk and run. Well, technically they don't... Yeah, they technically jog everywhere. You need like 3 bars of hunger left or so before you if you have 3 bars of hunger, you'll stop sprinting. I can hear some I Fight Dragons Kaboom. Anyway, which is actually going to be quite a good lead on to then, well, not Fallout, because that was actually something I want to play Fallout because I did get it, but then it didn't work on the computer, so I've got to get a PlayStation to work it. I got it for like my birthday, so last year. But yeah, basically Kaboom was going to be showing a small montage of basically what's meant to have happened. Anyway, then there's Halo 1, and then after Halo 1 it goes into Fallout. Just say I'm writing books about Gordon's actual behind kind of life, thing. It doesn't follow exactly the story. Like Fallout, he doesn't live with anyone. He lives by himself. Also, Gordon can't speak. I've said that before. So the chip allows him to speak. And when I was writing the book, I forgot about that. So through like 2 or 3 chapters, I forgot he can talk. Good thing I hadn't met him again. Like I meant to have left him for 2 years for him. His lifespan is expanded. Normal dimension is once they put on the chip, they are immortal. They won't age, basically. Well, they won't get old. Gordon, on the other hand, isn't fully a dimensionator, meaning he has like control over himself. And he also has the ability to kind of I forgot now. He also, so basically, he has a bit of control over his body, while Steven, he always repeats the same actions. You tell him to hit, he does that. He always repeats the same movement. That's meant to be him hitting. Every time. No matter what he wants to do, I always do everything. Think about it. I press the button, he does something. And it's the same every time. Gordon, though, I tell him to hit. If he was a fully dimensional, he would do that every time. But because he's not, he does things like that. He changes movements. He does unique things which I don't tell him to do. Whilst, so yeah, then in Halo, this was slightly more confusing, but anyway. Yeah, then there's Halo 1, which really explains everything. I play as John. Then you get to Fallout. I like the one I'm pointing at this one. Then you get to Fallout, where it's kind of back with Gordon. He's got Random Robot, which is instead of the robot Codsworth, instead you've got Random Robot, which is actually the name Rowan gave my Mr. Handy in Fallout Shelter. We called it Random Robot. I think it was quite a cool name. Yeah, so I passed it on to there. Gordon's got to the vault, and they've got confused and thought he was kind of this person who jumped in to the closing vault door. He wasn't, someone else was. He was actually helping them. So they got confused and put him into stasis. They put on his arm a bomb, which will basically blow up if he leaves the vault. They didn't tell him that, he just assumes that. He doesn't have the chip through the very first couple of chapters. It's until really he has to go leave the vault, so kind of like in the normal thing. That or I give it to him, because I was hiding in the vault as well. I didn't really show up. I was in the vault working undercover, and then hid in a stasis cube behind a wall in a cupboard. So this is a cupboard, it's got a wall. I was behind that wall in a stasis pod. They find me and bring me out a few days before they were attacked. I'm the only person who survived. I then go back in stasis for a few more years, come back out, and yeah, and then there's Gordon. Like literally, the first time I was looked at, kind of that scene when I was thinking, how do you know your son's alive? Who knows how long it's been? The bodies have been decomposed. That means that they have been gone. You have been in stasis for a long time. Anyway, also Gordon can be frozen. It was actually quite a cool thing about the Nords and how Nords in Skyrim have, I think they have like a 50% cold resistance, something like that. So yeah, and that's not actually what gave me the idea. I think it was actually Fallout, kind of freezing you in a pod, and you being the only survivor actually helped me prove this point that Gordon can survive any cold temperature. He can be frozen for thousands of years and be fine. Literally, he could be from the dinosaur age for all we know. Anyway, then it kind of switches over to Just Cause. Well, whilst Gordon is stuck in Fallout because the chip's broken down. If you look at your Pip-Boy for a while, you can see sometimes how the screen kind of flickers and it does weird stuff. It looks like it's slightly broken, and that's the idea. Then you have Just Cause. Forgotten what it's called. Disney Infinity. I actually forgot about this one. It was constructing the original timetable. And Terraria, all really taking part around about the same time. Overlapping parts all mean that they're taking place at the same time. Yeah. And then you have Lego Dimensions, which you can round about see is there. Let's see, I've got images. Only a few aren't mine. Like this one isn't mine. That one's not mine. That one's not mine. And these two aren't mine. You can try reading my notes, but who cares? Basically, yeah. So those all take place. Then you get Lego Dimensions, which is like the expansion of our control, basically. We are suddenly expanding to a massive level of dimension by traveling through dimensions. I even say in the first episode how I want this to kind of feel like actually we're going and employing more people into the group. Sorry I move my hands so much. I must move something when I'm talking, apart from my mouth. So anyway, so yeah, that keeps going, and then we try to expand to space. Some people will know the terrible episode I did of, the first one was good. The first one in Minecraft, which was there was the episode What Just Happened, which is actually an edited episode. It was my first edited episode, where we switched to a Halo texture pack. I then built a spaceship, ta-da. I then forget to upgrade it after the next episode. I then filmed a scripted episode. It wasn't great, I must admit, but it was pretty good. I was very pleased with what I did. I literally had a scene of a Halo ring I built. It was a miniature one, so that you know, I had like a miniature version of the ship, miniature version of a Halo ring, and you have one, and then you have the ring explode by me putting a bit of TNT behind it. I shot that scene about 20 times before I got the right one. Edited the whole video together, thought I uploaded it, deleted the video, then after filming the next episode, find out that I didn't actually upload it. I then had a massive rush to make this edited video again and made an absolutely terrible one. And it's actually been something that's really annoyed me for a long time. Anyway, in the Halo texture pack episodes, I build myself a spaceship. I then have another episode where I go onto a map called Movies, where I plan to put a montage after that of me travelling back to Earth. And in this one I get an upgrade to the ship, which I do show and then forget to put that on the actual map. Good thing I never went back to it. Apart from another episode I didn't upload on purpose this time. It was actually interrupted and went absolutely horrible. You know, in that episode I actually punched someone in reality. I was having a great time. Maybe one day I'll tell you. But anyway, No Man's Sky is based where Dr. Limmer has now made a new version of that ship and put it in the docking bay. The idea is that I'm now going to test it. When I go and test it, from what you know, it goes wrong with the emergency warp. Limmer has communication systems which can span across the whole of the Milky Way, so that's our galaxy if you don't know. Look up a galaxy if you don't know what a galaxy is. And then, yeah, you can also find out how big it is. They are massive. But anyway, and testing the emergency warp on a planet, don't ask me why, it was over Earth, kind of flying over the ocean towards New York. I activate the warp drive, the emergency warp, warps me over the Statue of Liberty, just kind of scratching the, I don't know what's called, the flame, basically, just the top of the flame, very gently. Anyway, if that's meant to have ripped it apart, tell me and I'll tell you how it did. It didn't, because there is actually a way on how, if something hitting the Statue of Liberty going like faster than the speed of light, does hit the Statue of Liberty just ever so slightly, and it's actually meant to cause a whole lot of damage. Tell me, because I know exactly how it didn't cause that much damage. So I fly across the sky. The only thing you can ever see of me is the thruster light. So everyone can see the light flying across the sky, but it just goes very quickly. And I travel outside the galaxy, and traveling so far with the warp drive, it actually makes me fall unconscious. When I wake up, I'll probably mention this in the actual thing, the ship's drift. I pull out the warp drive because I know that everything shuts down when the warp drive turns off because it's overheated. I pull it out and it basically turns to ash. Not ash, but dust in my hands because it basically fried itself completely. Systems come back online, but I crash into a planet. It destroys it. The only way I survived was using the small teleport pod, which Dr. Lim had given me, to put on the N13. The N suits are basically a list of suits which follow throughout games. The Halo suits are not part of the N suits. They are part of the G suits, which I actually mentioned in my second episode of Halo. Anyway, so like the N suit is more like a skeleton thing which will go around you and create an outfit. The NO2 was my own design, which basically looked like that. But just much bulkier because I didn't do the research. There's a thing. Okay, right. Look up this video. The Game Theorist Hitman Bulletproof Skin. I think that's what it's called. Look that up, and you should find what the type of it's like the really tough thing he's talking about, and basically that's the thing that goes over. And I think he said 500 layers can stop a miniature bullet. And that's very good since 5,000 layers of it only makes up a millimeter, so that's like around about the end of a pencil or something. Depends how blunt the pencil is. So then, I have 20 centimeters of this stuff on the suit. So that's quite a thick suit, which means the suit is nearly indestructible. And also because of this, I actually have to abandon the suit, and we put it in the N-Suit Museum, which is another room you guys will probably never see. The reason you'll never see them is because they're more like off limits. But anyway, then there was the NO2, which is like power armor, so the classic power armor from Fallout. Then you have the NO3. I'm starting to lose count myself. Don't remember what that one. Oh yeah, like the Half-Life suit. So the don't remember what it's called. HNV, something like that. That's not it. It's got a H and a V. I don't remember the other letter. I'll probably have to watch the videos again. Then it goes on to the NO4, which is the nano suit from Crysis. You can watch Venturion with that. Then there's the NO5, which is like a Halo suits from like Halo Reach. The Master Chief suits I meant weren't the G suits, not the N suits. Anyway. Then there's the NO5, 6, which don't really have a look as far as I'm aware. I haven't really pinpointed them to any games. Then you have the NO7 from Mass Effect. The NO8, which I used to fix the CO2 generator, which is what generates the electricity for my Minecraft island. The reason I got rid of that on the first day is because we broke it. When trying to fix the CO2 generator, which basically just sucks in loads of CO2 and it just does some... I think we divert it into certain areas, it could have pipes and move fans, and it just generates a lot of electricity. It also sucks it up and just kind of... They collide them, and Dr. Limit does a whole bunch of stuff just to make electricity out of them. But it gets rid of it in the process. It's quite clean. It's very green energy. I'm not sure. Anyway, but yeah, when I was going to fix it, I forgot to turn it off. I reach over the top of the hole, which is sucking on the CO2, put my hand over, all the CO2 being sucked down drills through the suit, like fully through basically titanium, obsidian, whatever you want, and comes out the other side of my hand to go through it. I instantly pull my hand away just for the nanobots to go and fix up the suit around the hole in my hand. I then can't move my right hand. Bad thing is, I'm right-handed. So I have to fix a machine, which if I do I turn it off, try to fix it with my left hand, which obviously isn't, like, I can't write with my left hand. So let alone trying to fix something, if you go wrong with it, it's going to blow up in your face and probably break the whole suit down. And I managed to fix it, and yeah, then Dr. Lemma put more nanobots in my hand to actually fix my hand. And that's why I can still do this. Then you have the N09, the N10, which is like the Halo 5 Guardians Spartan Locks suit, because it's a very thin suit, and that's why I kind of decided it would look more like a suit I would have. Then to the N11, which actually I did design, it's just ever so slightly different on the helmet. And there was one other. Oh yeah, the N13, which actually I'm not going to say what it looks like. Because there's no third person in the game, it means that, you know, basically, unless I find one of my friends to actually take a picture and send me it, I will never know what the suit looks like. As well as I'm hoping never to repair my ship. When I have my ship, yes, I'll get another one. It's like, I want to get an explorer ship. But anyway, when I get the ship, I'm gonna probably never repair it. It's gonna have... What I know is it gets wear and tear, and I just prefer to see what it looks like at the very end of the game. As long as it has no negative effects on the ship, I really hope it will look quite cool. Well, probably not cool, it'll look very ugly, but then you can tell if I'm with you. Anyway, there's a long gap between that, because that's probably meant to span over 100 episodes, where I'm stuck by myself. Then it goes on to Mass Effect. That is actually my own image, if you look closely. It's the Mass Effect Andromeda and Mass Effect 2, basically. Where now I have a ship, the SR2 Normandy, and I'm just trying to put together... I know you have a standard crew is 80 crew members. Just trying to remember how many you recruit. I can remember all their names. Who do you get? Talia, Samara, Miranda, Jacob, Grunt, Garrus, Jack, Talia. I'm getting confused. I started playing Mass Effect 1, so I'm now thinking Rex, who isn't in there. Garrus is, though. So Talia, Garrus, here he goes. But anyway, and then, so I have a very big crew. I then, hopefully, when this comes out, it's been like in the works for like 11 years. That one, which you may be able to read, or not. Well, you can read Firefly. There's Firefly Online, which is still in the workings, but it's a very cool game. I am probably going to stick to the actual Firefly series ships. So, like I was saying, the first ship I'm probably going to have is a Sandfly, which I'm hoping to have 4 crew members for, which doesn't make a huge amount of sense. Since it's a 2 crew member ship. Anyway, I'm going to have 4 crew members for that one. So I have 2 people to stay behind, a second engineer and a co-pilot, and then another engineer and another pilot, which is Brit. Yeah. Basically, I'll have 1 person left behind, because I just realised you can take 3 people with you, including the captain. So basically, you can take 2 people wherever you go. So just like Mass Effect. And then I can leave 1 person to fly the ship, or at least look after it. I'm probably, for the very beginning, going to try and stay out of combat and just try and start getting money and things like that. So I'll probably get weapons and things like that on the ship. Then eventually I'm going to move on to a Series 1, which will have 4 crew members, which actually still works. Then a Series 2 Firefly, which will work as, where then you have, I think, 5 crew members. I think that's the Firefly from the actual TV series. I read up something that was a Series 3, but that didn't make sense, because it says Series 3 has double this of crew members of a Series 2. And Series 2 has 5 crew members, so that would mean that you would have to have 10 crew members, and there's only 5 bedrooms. Anyway, I have to look at that again, but anyway. Then you have I have a Series 2, and I may go on to a Series 3. I probably won't. I know there are a few military versions, which may be more useful to get. But anyway, and that's kind of as far as the timeline goes. Right, this one, up here, that is more built over the Travelers, which is Still not coloured in, but that. So the kind of plain planet, so that one, is meant to be Gallifrey, but I just haven't actually coloured it in. Then we have the main people, so me, with the Sonic pen, Rowan, who is more the cameraman for the first series at least, and Tom, who I still haven't actually designed a skin for yet. And then we have a Cyberman head, which I didn't finish. You have then like the Dalek ship, Amy, which is the name of our TARDIS, I'm pointing out with my thumb. And this planet, which you guys won't get for a while, so I've just realised how that makes a face. The planet has the eyes, and the TARDIS has the nose, and then the Travellers has hair. And anyway, The Travellers is a series I haven't done yet, but it's based in Minecraft and it's animated. It's quite cool. It's a Doctor Who kind of series. But the thing is, it's based outside the timeline. Yes, we do reference stuff we do reference things like Just Cause, and I will probably in the series as well have multiple versions of a Firefly, which we would use every now and again. Probably going to be like a series 3, 4, not 3, 4. 2 or 1 or 2. Because like series 2 I know the best, but series 1 they did do a layout for it, but the problem with it is that the cargo bay stairs don't go anywhere. Seriously, they lead up to the airlock. It doesn't make much sense because you can't actually see the way they leave. They probably haven't finished it. Yeah. Also, it represents Minecraft as well, since Minecraft spans across the whole of the timeline. Oh my gosh, the Travellers I haven't really sorted it out yet, but you know, with the Travellers, they'll reference things like Fallout. So, and a few times maybe we'll see Gordon, and there is actually an episode. I think it's like the 3rd episode I want to do, which is based on me and the others getting Dr. Limmer because we are actually running out of money. I go out into the streets and pretend to beg. That's not reality, just that is actually the series. Well, we borrow money. I buy a 3D TV. Wait, that's a different episode. That's for like this episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's episode 8, where we're building a new TARDIS because it's a new regeneration on myself. And yeah, I buy a 3D TV using the same tactic and melt it down. I kind of take it apart, get parts out of it, and then melt it down the rest of it for more parts. Well, I did say that's a waste of a TV, but well, it's not when you have enough. You have, because we're meant to have like 3 TVs in that in our TARDIS. But I want to try and make it a very mysterious kind of program, try and leave Easter eggs everywhere, because, for instance, like, I want to actually have the, what's it called? Oh yeah, I don't want to show directly where me and Rowan come from. Tom, everyone will know at the very beginning, comes from before the Time War. And in Doctor Who fan will know what that is. But anyway, we're not meant to be given a time. I use a 1999 phone, so actually the phone from The Matrix, the first film. We also use 80s computers, like an Apple II. I also have, when we come on board, you can, because really when we're coming on board for the first time in the first episode, it's the best time to see what we have, since it's the only stuff we brought from Earth. Our clothes don't really give it away immensely, but we have boxes of stuff, and it says like 80s stuff. You know, Game Boy, Nintendo, things like that. So, you know, like the original Nintendo, which has the buttons A, B. You're probably wondering how I actually know these buttons. A, B, starts, back, and then just kind of, it's like the plus kind of thing, you know, that thing. And that's it. That's all the buttons you've got. You may be wondering how I know that. 2 things. One, I saw it in the store yesterday, and the other, through most of I Fight Dragons videos, especially the Crazies. they are playing a video game because they base their music on 80s video games. So it actually sounds kind of cool. Anyway, I'm going to leave the episode here. Thanks for watching. I need to go get a drink and a cup of tea or something like that. I love tea. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.